I have played Persona games for over 500 hours and everyone says Shin Megami Tensei, the parent series, is either genius or just edgy trash. After 5 plus hours of playing SMT 5 myself, I have some thoughts to share that will give you a clear idea of what SMT is about and whether or not you might enjoy it. I am going to be breaking down and answering 10 of the most important questions regarding SMT. So if you want to know it all, stick around till the end. Starting with the most important one, how similar is Shin Megami Tensei 5 to Persona games? These games are similar at only a surface level. Think of comparing French fries and fried chicken. Both are fried foods, and in this way, both are turn-based monster-catching JRPGs created by Atlus. But that's where the similarities ends. Because underneath the surface, I found SMT 5 to be a very in-depth post-apocalyptic god simulator. Yes, that is the best way I can describe it. And here's why. Unlike Persona, Shin Megami Tensei to me felt way more gameplay and progression heavy. In the first 5 hours that I played, there was very little focus on the human characters and instead all of the attention was given to the world, its lore and demons. It's as if the game's narrative is a puzzle that's meant to be solved slowly. It is very vague and took a back seat while I was playing the game. And normally I don't like this kind of storytelling at all, but the gameplay is generally so good that I didn't mind it. What are the main differences in gameplay between SMT and Persona? The gameplay of Persona is divided into two halves of being a life sim and a dungeon explorer, but Shin Megami Tensei doesn't have that life sim aspect. And to be honest, I don't think it has dungeons either. The map in SMT is like a huge open zone, and usually these open zones are segmented into sections. And honestly, I love this system. What is the gameplay flow of SMT? The reason why I love Shin Megami Tensei's open zone system is because it gives you freedom, but it's limited. With most open world games these days, they just open up the entire map and the game is so open that you are stuck doing side quests and boring collectibles all day. That is not the case with SMT. You can see a shiny collectible and go collect it, but the game also leaves a bunch of shiny things for you to see, which you cannot get unless you progress the story. There is this constant balance of incentivizing you to go get the collectibles, do side quests, and interact with this world to become stronger. But all of it will eventually lead to progressing the story. So the gameplay flows like this. You play a bit of the story and unlock an area, and you can decide whether to explore the area you have just unlocked or go straight to the next part of the story, which will be indicated on the map. Although both the game and me do not recommend doing this, because the side quests do have interesting stories and give you really good rewards, without which fighting the bosses might be hard. And speaking of fighting, how are the main mechanics in Shin Megami Tensei 5? SMT 5 has one of the best combat systems I have seen in a JRPG. The game right at the start provides just enough mechanics to get you interested, and it unlocks new mechanics as you progress through the game. For now though, let's just focus on combat, because that's where I think this game shines the most. The two main mechanics of SMT 5's combat are turn icon system, which is common with all the SMT games, and Magatsuhi gauge. The turn icon system is something more like a nuanced version of Persona's 1-up system, where if you hit an enemy's weakness, you only consume half of a turn, allowing you to take additional actions. But the more interesting one is Magatsuhi gauge. The entire game's demons, side quests, and a bunch of upgrades are tied to this gauge. Think of it like an ultimate. You need to charge it up for a few turns and then you can use an awesome move. But the thing is, the entire team shares this same Magatsuhi gauge. So while you have 4 party members with different ultimate attacks, you can only use one of them at a time. Most of the important fights in SMT 5 will be dictated by how well you can strategize around this. And the more you progress in the game, the more options you will have. Speaking of progression, how do you progress in SMT 5? The way you get stronger in SMT 5 is through two main ways. Of course, there's the classic Persona method of fusing new demons by sacrificing your existing demons. And by completing side quests, you gain access to even more powerful fusions. But that isn't all. There's also perks that your main man can learn, like increasing the number of demons you can carry, or being able to gain your ultimate faster. And the list of these skills that you can obtain is expanded by fighting these red flowers. Of course, you can only find a limited number of these things in each section of a zone. You have to continue the story and fight story bosses in order to continue gaining more abilities. The entire game is a non-stop dopamine loop of you finding a thing you can't do and then exploring the map in order to find a way to do it. But of course, if everything was easy, it wouldn't be fun. So let's talk about, is SMT 5 harder than Persona or is it just a meme? Yes, Shin Megami Tensei is harder than Persona in many ways, but not in the ways you think. The game itself is not hard by default. It is a game, but there is a right and wrong way to play it. If all you do is spam strong attacks on an enemy, then yes, the game will grab you by your nuts and rip them off. The gameplay has very simple mechanics. If you are in a fight, you can choose to hit the enemy's weakness, heal yourself, buff yourself, or nerf the enemy. But there's a lot more emphasis on when you do it. You see, SMT, from what I can tell, has a much more fun way to deal with status ailments. You know when you get poisoned in a game and you are like, oh man, this isn't fun? Well, it is fun when you can do it right back to the bosses. That's right, Shin Megami Tensei allows you to abuse the fuck out of these status ailments and apply them to bosses. And unlike Persona 5 status ailments, which barely get used throughout the game, SMT status ailments are easy to use and actually serve a purpose. Because enemies aren't just weak to certain elements, they are also weak to certain statuses. And yes, you can stack buffs and debuffs. This leads to some insane strategies like double nerfing a boss's accuracy so they can't hit you at all and lose all their turns, or making a boss fall asleep for the entirety of the fight so you can continue spamming buffs and debuffs so by the time they wake up, it is already too late for them. If there is some nonsense that you think you can get away with, the game will most likely allow you to just do it. And that's what makes this game so fun. It's because it's always a tug of war between you and the enemies of who can use the dirtiest tactic to win unfairly. Comparing this to Persona is like comparing an official WWE fight with rules to a goddamn drugged out hobo fight. So the obvious next question is, how not to suck at Shin Megami Tensei? There is a very simple way to not suck at SMT games. Get good. If you are not at full health, heal. Even if you think an enemy can't kill you in a single turn, heal. Because trust me, even if the enemy gets even a single critical hit, it snowballs rapidly and they will end your entire lineage. I have died so many times because of making this exact same stupid mistake and I never learn. So you can do me one better and learn from me. If you have somebody in your party that is weak to the enemy's attacks, please for the love of God plan around it. Blaming the game for your misplays isn't going to make the game more fun. You can literally buy a cheap item in the shop which you can carry 50 of that literally tells you all of the enemy's movesets and weaknesses, and it works on bosses. The game gives you the exact information to deal with the enemy, so please use it. Now let's talk about something else from Persona that you might miss in Shin Megami Tensei. Where are all the social links and confidants? The answer is they don't exist in Shin Megami Tensei. Yes, there are human characters, but for the majority of the game, you will be talking to, fighting alongside, and bonding with demons. And you might think demons can't have good personalities. Well, first of all, that's kinda racist. Please apologize to my King Frost. My boy is a fat fuck, but he has a great personality. But yes, since the game is revolving around these demons to such a vast extent, Atlus has made these things have a lot of their own personality. Some of them are cute and playful, some of them are stupid and earnest. And some of them are dickheads. Scratch that, most of them are dickheads who want to just eat you like a Kit Kat bar. And while the game emphasizes time and time again that demons are not your friend and they are simply tools, this just adds a much needed personalization to these demons. They are more than just party members, you can actually talk to them and bond with them. As weird as that sounds. Like, I never imagined while playing a game that I would relate to a thing that literally eats people. Speaking of demons, how do you recruit them, you ask? I told you that these demons have their own personalities. As such, when you negotiate with them to join your team, you gotta say things that they may like. You can compare these negotiations to holdups in Persona 5, but I'm going to be honest, I like this one way more, because it is much more varied than just clicking two correct dialogue options. Sometimes you recruit them by saying the right things, but most of the time they will require some sort of item to be satisfied. But all of these questions, of course, leads to the final and the most important question. Did I enjoy Shin Megami Tensei and is it better than Persona 5? I know I'm a clickbaiting YouTuber and I'm the one who asked this question in the thumbnail. But to be honest, I don't think I can compare these two games because of just how different they both are. I love Persona and it will remain my favorite franchise because it has my favorite game of all time. But if you were simply asking me if I wanted to play a game, which one I would choose, I might pick either of them because I genuinely believe that Shin Megami Tensei 5 is on the same level of Persona 5 in terms of the fun that it offered me. Maybe even more because of just how addicting the gameplay formula is. And yeah, knowing all of this, I would recommend this to all Persona fans or gamers in general to at least try once. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments, of course, if you disagree with any of my takes, or leave a like and subscribe. That works too. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.